No, I don't think anyone will notice. Especially if you keep those sunglasses on.
Are you sure? Who is going to see this again? And what the hell is wrong with your voice?
This is just for my class, don't worry about it. My voice gets a little high when I'm nervous. Also, I have been showing Gandhi in my class over the last couple of days and I may have picked up an accent. What? Okay, I guess we are ready. Hi Lisa and the rest of Cohort 10. As you know, I'm Trevor Friend and I am very pleased to.
What?
What?
Co-op?
Cohort. I tend to mumble when I'm nervous. Sorry about that. As I was saying, I am more than a little pleased to have Dr. Dean Smigger here today. Dr. Smigger is a professor.
Dean, please. Just Dean.
Dean is a professor of music at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, but he is not here to discuss music with us. Right, Doctor? Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right, Dean?
Janis Joplin wore Foster Grant sunglasses.
Excuse me?
Janis Joplin always wore Foster Grant sunglasses. On August 3rd, 1970, Janis told Dick Cavett that she only wore Foster Grant sunglasses.
I thought we decided that we wouldn't talk about music.
We aren't. We were talking about sunglasses.
I'm sorry, Lisa. We had a really long trip back from the airport and there was a lot of traffic. I think the Valium we took for the flight, that he took for his flight, has Dean a little distracted.
There wasn't any traffic. Do you hear crickets?
Distracted. Distracted though, right. Dean isn't going to talk about his 25 years teaching music at Belmont University. He is going to talk with us about, oh look, a chicken. Embracing distraction among ways of knowing.
I said crickets, not chickens. You don't hear the crickets. You, sir, what's your name? Greg. Like in the Brady Bunch. Didn't we all want to be Greg Brady when we were little? Hey, what was that song he wrote?
The one when he was Johnny Bravo. Clowns never laughed before. Beanstalks never grew.
Ponies never pranced before, till I met you. That was a good one.
Dean, we don't really have a lot of time. We appreciate you coming here to talk to us about your class. I told you this is a class on curriculum, and as I told you on the phone, I found your course to be very interesting. Could you talk about your course for a minute or two, particularly your use of essential questions and performance tasks?
When we talked on the phone, which time?
I think every time we talked on the phone, we talked about your course on distractions as a way of knowing, rediscovering our five senses.
I was on my new iPhone. I don't think the new iPhone was worth it. What do you think, miss? Hershey? You saw? Oh, I am sorry. Your name is? She saw. So what kind of bird do you think that was? Miss, she saw.
Dr. Smigger. Her name is Hersey. Not she saw.
Listen. I have never heard a bird like that. You see lots of birds in the parks around Tennessee if you look for them, or should I say listen for them. What were we talking about?
The five senses.
I see. Ha. But seriously, how many of you think about your senses anymore? I tell my students that most, if not all of us, have long ago taken our senses for granted and just let things spiral around us, and we miss out on so much that goes on around us.
Actually, Dean, before we talk about the senses, can you talk about essential questions?
Essential questions. Big idea questions. Overarching questions. These are central in the curriculum of, oh look, a chicken. Is it cold in here?
It's not cold. This shirt is made of rough cotton and I am not wearing a t-shirt. Ah, Dean. Can you describe how you use the five senses in your class and how they constitute essential questions?
Are you sure it's not cold in here? My hands are cold. What did you ask? Thinking about that bird we heard before got me to thinking about the Wright brothers and man flying for the first time.
We can come back to this. Can you tell us about the component of your curriculum that you call LDT?
LDT just means let's do this. It is something I came up with quite a few years back. When something interesting comes up, we will have an on-the-spot assignment. Does anyone have a snack? What is their name over there on the left? The one eating the power bar. Liz. Hey Liz, do you have an extra power bar?
Dean, if we could stay on topic a little longer, please. Can you explain how LDT typically works?
Well, someone will say something interesting, and then someone else will connect it with something they were thinking about. And eventually a question will develop. At that point we will explore it. Hey, weren't you asking about the part of the curriculum that deals with the five senses?
I did. That was a few minutes ago.
Did you know Mohandis means Great Spirit and Kamikaze means Divine Wind?
You know, I did know that, but what does one have to do with the other?
Just interesting words, that's all. Show of hands. How many of you get caught up reading the dictionary when you are looking up words? Seriously, nobody. How about you, miss? What is your name? No, you. The one on the laptop? Carol Ann. You look pretty comfortable on that computer. You don't ever follow one word to another on one of the dictionary apps. I wasn't accusing you of not listening. I just saw you typing. Does my slow speaking pace cause you to become distracted easier?
I do sometimes find myself reading the dictionary. I sometimes get lost in them. I actually just bought the Oxford American Dictionary app, and it can be addicting.
Not addicted or not lost. Distracted. When we get distracted, it can be for a lot of different reasons. My freshman to complete the distractions project. Would you like me to explain the project? I am sorry, Lisa, but you're going to have to make time. This is the outline of the distractions project. What does it mean to be distracted? How can this be a good thing? When does it produce unwanted results? Why would one want to gain control of this phenomenon? For this project, you will embrace the notion of being distracted in an appropriate manner. You are to notice the moment in which you are being distracted, what the distraction is, and then decide whether that distraction is worth pursuing, noting the consequences of your decision.
This is interesting. Please continue.
I better not. Your teacher looks pissed.
Ah, yes, you are right. Let's speed this up.
What's your name? Jeremilio. Oh, John Ermelio. What kind of music do you like? 60s and 70s soft rock. Really? What do you think about when you listen to Hall and Oates? It depends on what. Now you see, using one sense can make you contemplate something totally removed from that sensory input. Thank you, Jeremilio.
Dean, what are some of the performance tasks that you use with your university freshmen?
We begin with the Senses Project. The students have to go out and experience the world using their five senses and come back with 5 examples of how they experience each of the 5 senses. Like this beer, it meets all the senses. I see it. I heard that bottle open up. I can taste it. Feel the cold of the Colorado Rockies. You know what I'm talking about, Dan. And I can smell those hops. I encourage the students to dig a little deeper than this. However, this is a good example of how we use our senses constantly but are mostly unaware of them.
What are some of the other performance tasks or essential questions that you use in your course?
Well, there's the Distraction Project.
What's that?
What's what?
The Distraction Project.
You know, I've been thinking about those birds. They have been flying for millions of years and they haven't made it to the moon.
Is this an example?
Of what? I think you are confused. Don't you see? Birds have been flying for millions of years, but humans had only been flying for 66 years before we reached the moon. That's because people get distracted, and sometimes choose to follow their distractions. When we follow our distractions, we can end up in some wonderful places.
It's unfortunate that more people are not aware of the tremendously rich ideas you have assembled for the pursuit of knowledge by distraction. Have you ever thought of expanding your course through other education systems?
Are there any cookies? Maybe a Twinkie laying around anywhere. Hey, does anyone know if it's true that Hostess is going out of business? I wonder if that is related to the economy.
So is that a no? You have not thought about expanding distraction as a pathway to deeper understanding to other schools.
When did you ask that? I haven't any plans of yet to capitalize on my course and its curriculum, no.
If I were to give an outline of content for your curriculum, would it be fair to say that it includes not only using your senses for educational advancement and following your distractions to whatever conclusions, if any, they arrive at, but also discussing common texts, lectures, and films?
Yes.
Thank you, Dean and Sminger. Now, does anyone have any questions? Yes, Jenny? Dean, can you answer that?
I wasn't listening. Do you use air vacuums up here, or Q-tips?
Anyone else? Unfortunately, we are out of time. I would like to thank Lisa Dyer for finding money in the budget to fly Dr. and Sminger up here and for providing him with a Greyhound ticket home. And Josh for...
Wait a minute, what the hell did you just say? Greyhound. Do you know that they're known as a mean dog? But they're really fast. One of my neighbors is a Dalmatian. Has anyone ever listened to Pink Floyd while watching The Wizard of Oz? What breed of dog was Toto?
Thank you, Dean. I have handouts if anyone is interested. That's all for me and we are out of here.